So beautiful to be together. Thank you so much for the sacred kirtan to open our hearts and get us into exactly that right space to receive. As the days go by, I become more and more convinced about the importance of our spiritual practice and our spiritual teachings and our spiritual communities. Not just because we all want peace and happiness and meaning in our life and fulfillment and maybe even moksha and enlightenment, depending on where our dreams lie. But I become more and more convinced about it because of our planet and because of what's happening in the world today. As you look at the wars, the violence, as you look at the wars, the violence, the hatred, the ability that we have as humans to harm each other, climate change, the ability that we have to destroy that of which we are made and that which we depend upon. I realize as I look at this that our spiritual practice is the only answer. It's the only way to pull us out of that nature which causes us to divide, the nature which causes us to fear, the nature which causes us to see each other as a threat or to see the other as a threat, the nature which is to hoard, to grab. I mean, these are not bad. They're just kind of part of the package of the human mind. And although our devices and technology have certainly made the matter worse, they didn't create it. The Bhagavad Gita is full of teachings of working with the mind long before there were smartphones or iPads or laptops or anything that was beeping or buzzing or distracting us. Long before there were commercials or billboards saying, buy this. It's the nature of the mind. And I mention that because while digital detoxing or digital fasting and all of that is so important, don't think that the problem is outside. It's the nature of the mind. And that's, for me, been a really important thing to realize is, okay, this is how the mind is. This is just how it is. Now, how do I work with it? It's like if you've never gone to the gym and you've got, therefore, flabby muscles because you've never walked, you've never done exercise, you've never lifted weights. Well, it wouldn't make sense to hate the flabby muscles. You just say, oh yeah, I guess this is what the body does, especially after a certain age, if you don't work it. And so rather than sitting around hating it or feeling badly about it, you say, oh, look at that. My muscles are flabby. Guess I have to go to the gym. And it's a solution-based awareness. It's not bad. You don't hate yourself. You don't hate the body. You just, all right, this is the nature of gravity on flesh. Okay, what can I do about it? You work it out. It's the same thing with the mind. The nature of the mind is to be separate, to divide, to see distinction, differences, others. The nature of the mind is to want to grab, to hoard. When we talk about rag and dvesh, right? Desires, aversions. This is core, just nature of the mind. But then how do we work with this? Because as I said, I've become more and more convinced as the days and weeks and years go by, as our world just seems to be falling apart in so many ways that seem, from a spiritual perspective, so incomprehensible, so cut off from the very nature of ourselves as humans, of ourselves as beings on this planet. And you realize, well, yeah, of course, we've cut ourselves off. Because that's what the nature of the mind does. It separates. And that's why our spiritual practices teach us to free ourselves of that. They say, use the mind. It's a great tool. Need to balance your checkbook? Use your mind. You don't want to merge with your checkbook. Because you got to figure out, all right, what's the expense, like income, outgo, you got to make it work. You don't want to be in this state of, oh, all right, so it doesn't balance, no problem. It should balance. You want to figure out a map to get from point A to point B? Use the mind. The mind is fantastic as a tool, but it's very harmful when we just let its nature run rampant. And I've been thinking about this a lot recently, and I thought, well, let me just share some very recent, very personal experiences and reflections on this. Because I think that our responsibility at this point, as humans on this planet, is to have a spiritual practice. And it doesn't matter what it is. It's not that one way is necessarily superior to another way, but I've started thinking that meditation is an obligation, a human obligation. It used to be that our meditation, our yoga, our prayer, our spiritual practice was just what we did to get closer to God. What we did to give us the opportunity for enlightenment, for moksha, for awakening. But I've come to feel that it's actually become a bit of our human social responsibility. Because when we are not meditating, we become part of the problem. We allow ourselves to get sucked into camps of differences, camps of othering, camps of us versus them. We allow ourselves to get sucked in to narratives around success or wealth or prosperity or consumption that are killing our planet, that are forcing us to work so many hours a day that we have no time for our families or our spiritual practices. And so when we look at the news, or we look at homeless people on the street, or we see what's happening, whether it's in the Middle East, whether it's with the Amazon rainforests, wherever you're looking, whatever it is that's breaking your heart, in addition to whatever else you may be doing, I think working with our mind through spiritual practice has become really our human obligation to this planet, to really be part of a solution. In the philosophy around the mind, we're taught that there are three main problems that the mind faces, three main dis-eases of the mind. And I'm not going to go into them in full detail because I want to go somewhere else, but it's worth just mentioning. They are mal. Now, mal, if you speak Hindi, I don't know what it is in Gujarati, but if you speak Hindi, it really just means junk. They'll say things like, "Jara ye mal utha do." Just like move the junk. Like, get it out of my way. It's on the path. It's in this corner. We had a party. Now there's junk everywhere. Like, hata do usko. The junk in the mind is what's referred to as mal. And literally, like the mall on the street, it just means the junk. It's the nonsense. It's not the stuff that requires your introspection or your insight or you to look at it and understand it. It's the grabbing, it's the hoarding, it's the negativity, it's the judging, it's just this stuff that we all have that makes up the mind. And again, don't hate it, it's there. But we work with it. And it's said that the best way to work with mal is through karma yoga. That seva is that which quite literally purifies, it cleans the mind. It's literally like the broom that you would use to remove the mal from your garden or your street or your garage. That's what seva is. Then we have what's called vikshepa. And that's the up and downness, the waves, the constant movement. I'm happy, I'm sad. It's a good day, it's a bad day. I like him, I hate him. This sense that we have, back and forth, back and forth. Tiniest little thing happens and we change. You're having a great day. You get a text message, you see a post online, you go to Google News, you see something and suddenly you're miserable. Then you see something else, so you get another message, or you get a phone call, or, Amazon's having a sale, or whatever it is, and suddenly it's a great day again. And then something else. This constant ups and downs are the waves. And it's said that the best way of working with the waves is what we call Raja Yoga, meaning kind of your seated sadhana, the meditation, the japa, the prayers, yoga, that which we do on a cushion, on a mat, our personal practice. And the third is what's called avran, and it just means a covering. And if you think about walking to a lake or a pond, and you want to see your reflection, or you want to see the reflection of the moon, or you want to see the fish in the lake or the pond, but you can't because there's this junk on the surface of it. And so you take your hand and you just kind of remove that, and then you can see. Or if you have a swimming pool, you notice, if you don't clean it for a while, it's going to accumulate this layer of junk. And you want to remove that. And it's said that Jnana Yoga, wisdom, the practice of learning, reading of scriptures, introspection, that's the best treatment for this veil. Now, I mention those without going into them in too much detail because what I wanted to share was, on just a personal level, how I've been watching in my life how the mind works, the nature of it, and then how do we work with how the mind works. So before arriving in London this morning, I spent the last few days in the mountains in Switzerland. I was in America, had programs there, had an extra few days, and originally was going to spend them in the forest or the mountains somewhere in California. That's what I do when I have a few days, especially after a very, very hectic, many, many, many months of kind of non-stop, which is what it's been. I take personal refuge time in the forest, in the mountains, in the trees, just being. So I was going to do that, and then I realized, well, in that case, when you arrive in London, you're going to arrive completely jet-lagged, and you've got 5 programs in 3 days, and you're going to, hit the ground running. There's mountains and forests on that side of the ocean as well. Why not go over there, spend a few days in the mountains or forests there, and then you'll be on the same time zone, and it'll make it so much easier. So that's what I did. And on the first day, I was taking this beautiful walk along a river. And I was in this little village high up in the mountains. And I was walking along a river. And it was gorgeous, peaceful. And I was thinking to myself, if we could give the world this type of way to live, the river is flowing, the mountains are here, there's not too many people, it's very rural and quiet, people would be so much more peaceful. And literally, in the way that the universe does, immediately, within less than 5 minutes, 3-4 minutes, walking toward me on the path come these two women. They're walking and they're talking, and I can't hear them until they get close. And I speak a little French, not super well, but enough to get kind of a gist of what was happening. But I could see them even as they were coming, very, very agitated and, in the midst of this very heated conversation. And as they got closer, I heard one of them talking about the neighbor. She was complaining about the neighbor. I didn't get the full story. My French wasn't that good. But something about her neighbor, and she was saying, no more, it's enough, I can't take it anymore, like too much. And they were so agitated and in the midst of this, and I thought, of course, it's the nature of the mind. Go to the mountains, go to the forest, go anywhere. But you take yourself with you. And that unfortunately, working with the mind is not quite as easy as simply relocating the body. As I walked into the central part of the town, this very quaint, beautiful little town, there's a travel agency there of local properties. But in the travel agency window, she had these posters taped up in the window for London, Paris, New York, Tokyo. And I thought, wow, like living in this place that to me feels like just the epitome of peace and joy, and why in the world would you ever want to go somewhere else unless you had to? But people who live there are enticed by coming to the big city. And it reminds me of a story actually that Swamiji tells a lot from many, many decades ago, long before I was there, when he was quite young. And they went and spent a month in Kashmir on Dal Lake. And several devotees, and they had gone for a week, but they loved it so much that they ended up staying for a month. And when it came time to leave, the devotees who were organizing it went to pay the boatman who took them out every day. And the boatman said, no, I don't want your money, but I really want to just talk to Swamiji and get his blessings. So when Puja Swamiji spoke to him, the boatman said, I need your blessing. He said, I have no idea what kind of awful karma I did in my past life, that I am stuck here in this life. He said, but please bless me that I should be able to go to Bombay. And, Puja Swamiji says, amazing. Like, Bombay is here, sitting in your boat, week after week, extending the stay. This man has been born and raised in heaven and is dreaming of Bombay. So I remembered that story as I walked through what seemed to me to be just this paradise little town where she's marketing and selling trips to London and Paris and Tokyo and New York and LA. Nature of the mind. And that's the piece, is recognize it's not about where you put your body. It's about working with that mind. And it's also not about, if I just take that trip. Because we're enticed. We see the poster, if I just. We see the posters for Kashmir, or we see the posters for, Swiss mountain villages, and we think, oh, if I just could go there. And the people who live there are screaming about their neighbors. And it's not neighbors like this. It's, chalets in the middle of the mountains. They're 200 meters from each other. Nature of the mind. And so we just notice it. And we say, yes, this, okay. So it's not about moving the body. It's not about the right vacation. It's not about just getting my neighbor to change. It's about actually having to do the work with the mind. We notice it, we acknowledge it, we witness it, and we say, I am not it. Yes, I see there is vikshepa. I see there is up and down. I see there is rag and dvesh, desires, aversions. It's the nature of the mind. But just because it is going up and down doesn't mean I have to go up and down with it. And that's why you'll notice when we were meditating, I kept saying, just bring the mind back. You'll get distracted. Could be the neighbor's noise, could be a memory, could be a scent, could be an ant on your knee, could be anything. Don't tell a story about it. Just bring the mind back. Just bring it back. Don't get wrapped up. It's all the same stories. It's all the same stories. My dad is a divorce attorney, still practicing at 79. But I mention it because one of the things that he's always said to me is, he says, it's so interesting. Whenever couples come into my office, he said, they always want to tell me their story. And he said, I charge about 6 times as much per hour as a therapist. And he said, I always tell them, I don't need your story. It's totally irrelevant to the work we're going to do in terms of dividing up who's going to get what. Who betrayed whom, it's irrelevant. California has a no-fault divorce. You don't have to give me a story. It doesn't matter. There's equations for figuring these things out. It's math. Don't pay me 6 times what you could pay a therapist. He said, but it's amazing because everybody does. Because they're so convinced that their story is unique that I can't possibly, even after being, a lawyer for 50, 60 years, that I can't possibly do the job properly until I know the whole story, because it must be unique. And he said, there's, 5, 7 stories. That's it. That's it. And it reminds me, my grandmother, when I was young, we'd turn on a movie on TV, and within the first 10 minutes, she'd say, I've seen this one. But like, Grandma, you can't possibly have seen it. It's a brand new release. And she would say, no, I'm telling you, here's how it's going to end. And she was always right. I'd say, no way. There's no way, Grandma. It's not. 2 hours later, Grandma was right. There's just not that many different stories. So wherever your mind goes, instead of your breath, instead of the mantra, instead of the present moment, it's not so interesting. But we kid ourselves into thinking it's a unique story, my pain, my struggles, my issues, my this, my drama. It's not so interesting. It's the same story. If we went around, we've all got the same stories, 5, 7 different varieties of the same stuff. So don't get wrapped up in it. Just come back, come back. Come back to, who are you? When that inner story maker stops. Who is the you that's there when there's no story happening? Just come back. Come back. You're not the story. Who are you when the story becomes quiet? Just keep coming back. When I when I walk, and I try to do it all the time, even if I'm walking in an airport or something, but especially when I'm walking in nature, I walk with a mantra. And the mantra I use is Om Brahm. Om Brahm. Left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. Om Brahm. Om Brahm. Om Brahm. And you could use so hum. You could use anything like that that has kind of 2 syllables. I use Om Brahm, Om Brahm, and I allow my walking to be the meditation. But as you walk, the mind goes, oh, those are beautiful flowers. You're just about to get lost in it. Om Brahm, Om Brahm. Is it going to rain? Oh my God, I didn't bring my raincoat. Do those look like rain clouds? Om Brahm, Om Brahm, Om Brahm. Ooh, a tomato garden. Love tomatoes. Do you think I could pluck one of her tomatoes? Of course you can't pluck somebody else's tomatoes. Om Brahm, Om Brahm. But I'm a nice person, and what is she going to do with 2,000 tomatoes? Om Brahm, Om Brahm. And you just notice this is what the mind does. The rain cloud, the beautiful tomatoes, the flower. It's the nature of the mind. And you just bring it back. And if you practice it in life, it becomes so beautiful. You do it seated in meditation because it trains you. But then do it in life also. Allow whatever you're doing. Can you make it meditation rather than trying to multitask? You're walking and you're texting at the same time. Instead of that, try this. Om Brahm, Om Brahm, Om Brahm. You're washing dishes. You're driving. Whatever you're doing, can you make it a meditation? And again, the mind will wander. Nice tomatoes. Took me a while to keep bringing my mind back from those. My mind was really interested in her tomatoes. But it's such a beautiful practice and lesson. And it kept trying to convince me that really getting a tomato was more important than meditating. And it'll do anything. No, really, the coffee pot is on. You better stand up from your meditation and go check it again. It'll do anything. Suddenly my mind is making like recipes and it's everything, the tomatoes. But you just keep coming back because you've got to ask yourself, what's my goal here? What's my goal? Is my goal a good story? A nice tomato? Or is my goal freedom from the games of the mind? If the goal is a tomato, by all means, drop the meditation, grab a tomato, or knock on her door. Hey, can I have a tomato? But if you've got a higher goal than that, and that's the point, is it's not that these thoughts are bad or wrong, but what they are is they are pulling you away from using the moment to experience the very truth of who you are. And so just as you live your life, use that meditation technique. And again, you can use so hum, you can use Om Ma. I like Om Brahm as I'm moving through the world because it's such a powerful reminder. There is nothing but the supreme reality. There is no separation. Hey, I'm one with the tomatoes. Om Brahm. There is no separation. Right? And it just reminds you as you move through your life of who you are. The last piece I wanted to share, and then we'll open it up for questions. Still staying with my very, very recent experiences of the mind. So the first day that I was there, I took a gondola up to the top of the mountain and did this beautiful, beautiful hike from across the ridge, from the top of where one gondola let me off, walked a few hours rather, probably more than that of miles. Walked a few hours, came down a chairlift, beautiful. Just exquisite. I mean, amazing views, being in, the high altitude air. Loved it. The next day, sky is super cloudy, dark clouds. The weather forecast says rain. My mind says, I got to do that again. That was so good, I got to do it again. But it's going to rain. But I got to do it again. It's not going to rain. It's okay, it's not going to rain. So I walk to the gondola. It's not yet raining. And the mind is so clever. It's so good. I can see the tops of the mountains are covered in clouds. Dark clouds on the tops of the mountains. But where I am, not yet a drop. Not going to rain. Not going to rain. Got to do it again. Get up there. Within 30 seconds or so of walking out of the gondola, obviously, the weather had told me it was going to rain. It was very clear from the weather it was going to rain. There were dark rain clouds. And although I got soaking wet, I wouldn't trade that experience because I love the constant reminders of the humanness of all of us. I mean, I just stood there drenched, laughing. I mean, I was just laughing so hard. Look at this. How the mind is. Because nothing is ever enough. You do it once, it's wonderful. But the mind will never say, oh, that was great. Now I'm satisfied and done. It always wants more. For some people, it's clothes. For some people, it's jewelry. For some people, it's money. For some people, it's power or popularity or sex or whatever it is that you're wanting more and more of. For me, it's hikes in the mountains. But it doesn't matter what the object of desire is. It's the way that the mind works. It's never satisfied. It never says, oh, okay, now I never need to shop again because now I have all the clothes and jewelry that I could ever want. Now I'm done. The mind never says, now I never need another beautiful meal again, another piece of chocolate cake again. I don't need it. I'm done. It always wants more. And I just stood there laughing at how I had allowed my mind. And I was so grateful for the reminder and for the beautiful demonstration of at any point of your spiritual path, as you're moving, as you aware, as you live it, there it still is. Yeah, look at that. Here I am on the top of a mountain, drenched. Because the mind never can get enough. And just how important it is to realize that, because sometimes the worst that happens is you get wet. But a lot of times the worst that happens is you end up wasting your life. And you end up wasting your life running after something that you think just one more raise or promotion or shopping trip or whatever it is going to give you. Just more prestige, just higher. Recently in Rishikesh, a beautiful devotee had come with his wife to visit, and we were sitting having Puja Swamiji's darshan, and we were talking, and he was speaking about his life. He's just celebrated his 75th birthday last year, and he was saying to Puja Swamiji, he said, I remember the day that my face was on the cover of the newspaper, that I was the third richest man in India. And he said, I remember looking at the newspaper that day and thinking, I've given my whole life for this? That, yeah, okay, here I am. Front page of the newspaper. Third richest guy in the nation. So? But how his entire life had been spent trying to make that happen. And so this is the nature of the mind. And the reason that I give you all of these examples, personal examples, examples of people I meet, is because don't think your mind is different. The mind loves to try to make you believe it's different. No, really, this, I've just got to have it. Just this thing, just one more that, just. But the more we understand, just the nature of the mind. It's like I was visiting some friends recently back in California, and they have a cat who has this amazing ability to convince guests who come that she's starving to death. And another friend who was there at the same time said to the people whose house it was in the morning, we were in the kitchen making breakfast, and she said to the people whose house it was, I think you really should feed the cat because she's been meowing all morning. She's really hungry. And they laughed and they said, yeah, she gets about 8 out of 10 people. And about 8 out of 10 people who come try to convince us that we are starving our cat. She's learned. She's learned how to get the guests to tell the hosts, put out more food. Our mind is the same. It learns. It learns what button to push, what thing to pull to get us to do that which is going to pull us away from where we are meant to be anchored. And so as we understand its nature, then you get to say, oh, that's just the cat. Yeah, she meows because she's trying to manipulate you. Don't feed it. In the same way, we don't feed the mind. Oh yeah, that's just, and that's why I gave you those 3 Malvik shape evidence, so that you can just know, oh yeah, this is that. This isn't some burning issue that I have to think about instead of meditating. This is just shape. It's just the ups and downs of the mind. There. Now I know what it is. I can bring my awareness back. And you just notice it. As the day goes, as life goes. But you keep bringing your awareness back, bringing your focus back. Because ultimately at the end of the day, that which we really want, that peace, that joy, that meaning, that fulfillment, that moksha, that enlightenment, that freedom, doesn't come by having more of anything. We know that. How many times have we done it? Right? Has there ever been a shopping trip that you've come back from and said, okay, now I'm enlightened? No, it just makes you want more. So we refocus. What's our ultimate goal and what's actually going to get us there? And as the mind plays its games, you just notice it. Notice it, name it. Oh yeah, that's just the manipulative cat. And you let it go. And you bring your awareness back to where your life is going. Because we don't have that many days here on this beautiful planet. So use them. Use them well. Use them in love. And this just brings us back full circle to where I began, which is whether it's your personal peace, your personal joy, your personal enlightenment, awakening, or whether it's climate change, or whether it's war and violence or inequality or exploitation or whatever it is that lights the fire in you and makes you want to get up in the morning and do something. The very best, core, most important thing to do is your spiritual practice. It's not the only thing to do. There's a lot more in addition to that the world needs from us in terms of our actions and our time and our resources. But we're only going to be able to act appropriately, to act effectively, if we're acting from that anchored and grounded place. So now that we remember how the mind works, hopefully we won't get so stuck and trapped and brainwashed by it. Now we just notice it. And take it to the gym, like you take your muscles to the gym, by doing our sadhana. I want to end here so that we have plenty of time to take questions. I know there are lots. I've had a lot of people message that there are questions. So we're going to just open it up. But before we do, just to remind everyone, there's no such thing as a wrong question or a stupid question. If it is important for you, if it's something that you feel like if you got an answer to this, it would help you walk a step closer to your truth, then not only is it the exact right question for you to ask, but it's also probably the exact right question that everyone sitting here needs to hear as well. So I don't know if we have a cordless mic or not. Do we have a cordless mic by any chance? If not, don't worry. You can just speak loudly and I can repeat it. Done. So just raise your hand. Yeah. We don't have a cordless mic, so just stand and speak loudly and I will repeat the question.
So if you have a good spiritual practice that you're happy with and you're doing your sadhana, you feel good about that. My question is, like, we live in this world, and if you do your job, I believe you should have passion and you should do your best. You should give it your best. So how do you balance between becoming too ambitious, like not too ambitious, becoming too much chasing after success in your life and job, and balancing that with healthy ambition? Where's the line?
Great. So they should actually go together. In an ideal situation, they should go together. Meaning, your job should be, and again, this is an ideal situation, and then we'll come to other, because not everyone has an ideal job. Not everyone has an ideal workplace situation. But in an ideal situation, you should be making a living, doing something that is beneficial to the world in some way, that is allowing you to use the unique gifts that you have, the creativity that you have. It should be something that is beneficial deeply to the planet. Not necessarily to every single being on the planet. You know, you may be working with a specific sector, people, animals, trees, whatever it is, but something that is benefiting the world in some way. In that case, your job literally becomes your karma yoga. The fact that you happen to get paid for it doesn't mean it's not karma yoga. You want to be ambitious in a situation like that because the more you can do, the more of your gifts you're using, the more benefit you're bringing to the world. However, you want to remember you're not the doer. Because the problem arises a lot is the static from my mic or from the speaker? From the mic? I'll keep going in the meantime. They'll sort it out. So it becomes your way of using this body, using this karmic incarnation. Because even though aham brahmasmi, I also have a body. I'm also here in a human incarnation with a karmic package and a karmic journey. And that's not something to be ignored. Thank you. That's not something to be... They'll turn it on. It's not something to be ignored. Bhagwan Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan Krishna makes it so clear. Yes, you are inseparable from the divine. And fight this war. It's your duty. So we are not here meant to ignore the body or the karmic package or the karmic journey. We are meant to live it fully. But remember that we are not the doers of it. So have ambition. Whatever you're going to do it with excellence. This is what the Yoga Sutras are full of. So many different sutras reminding us. Yogaha karmasu koshalam. Yoga is excellence in action. Whatever you're doing, do it with excellence. So have the ambition, but let the ambition be not about, I should get ahead. This guy should fall behind. I should push him out of the way. It should be an ambition for excellence to flow through you. Excellence in creativity, excellence in implementation, excellence in clarity. Every minute, every moment, don't cut any corners. There's a great story of a building contractor who had worked for, his whole life as a contractor, and he was working for his wife's father's company, his father-in-law's company. And finally, the time came that he was, getting ready to retire. And his father-in-law said, just do one more house. And he was like, planning my retirement in my mind, we're going to go off on vacation and whatnot, but all right, I got to do one more. So he does one more, but he does it, in the way that you would do something kind of begrudgingly. He cuts corners, he gets sloppy, he knows I've already retired, basically, I'm done, just get out of here as quickly as I can. As he finishes, he hands the keys to the house to the father-in-law. I'm done. Wonderful working for you, now I'm retired. And the father-in-law hands the keys back to him. And he says, this house is your retirement gift for you and my daughter to live in. We should do all of our work like that. Whatever you're doing, imagine it's your house. That level of excellence, that level of commitment, what you are creating, what you are building, what you are doing, it is not separate from you. So allow the ambition to be that. So it's not about the money, the title, the corner office. It's about how does excellence flow through me? And I remember, I am not the doer. Doing is happen. Otherwise, the ego gets in. I am not the doer. I am the vehicle through which it is happening. So let that be the ambition. And then your job is just your excellence of yoga. It's what you are doing through which excellence is flowing through you. And make sure that you keep the sadhana strong. That seated prayers, meditation, yoga, japa, etc. Because otherwise, what I've just said is very difficult to do. It's only with the clarity that comes from a very, very regular meditation practice that you can keep remembering, I am not the doer. Some employee will do something, it'll make you angry, you'll lose yourself. But if you're really strong and anchored in your sadhana, you will watch the anger rising. You will watch the tendency of the mind to bawl this guy out. You will see it happening, and you will be able to put the brake on it. You will be able to re-remind it. You will be able to come back. Om Brahm, Om Brahm, Om Brahm, Soham, Soham. And then that work can be truly a meditation in action. But only when you've got the other meditation to ground it. Yes. Namaste, sweetheart.
I wanted to ask, because you were talking about having a strong foundation with sadhana. You were also talking about the ups and downs of the mind. With sadhana especially, I feel that it manifests with that sometimes, especially if you have a set time and you go to bed later or you go to bed earlier, because everything is different from day to day and just circumstances change. And I've kept on changing my sadhana for a long time, so I was wondering if you had a suggestion of how to keep it strong and also what I should do.
Beautiful. So you should try to keep it as consistent as you possibly can. You don't want to become OCD about it, because then that becomes its own obstacle. But you do want to be as consistent as you can. Approximately the same time, ideally exactly the same time. If you're in the same location, your house, same place. Obviously, if you're on an airplane, you're on an airplane. If you're in someone else's house or a hotel room, there you are. But carry something with you. It can be very small. It can be your mala. It can be a divine image. But something that brings the energy of your home meditation spot with you when you travel. So even you're sitting on an airplane, you just put down the tray table, put it on the little tray table in front of you. There you are, now in your meditation spot. But something that energetically reminds you, this is my meditation spot. And here's the thing. Life is always going to, as they say, throw you curveballs. But if your sadhana is a priority, you will find yourself going to sleep in time to get up and to do sadhana. If the sadhana is not a priority, then you find yourself staying awake at night and saying, oh my God, I'm not going to get enough sleep if I get up at this hour, I have to sleep in. What's the priority? If the priority is to get up, you're going to go to sleep on time. But you've got to make that such a deep part of you. There was a very, very funny Seinfeld TV show when I was growing up. And I used to love it. And in one of the episodes, he had kept making these commitments that he was going to go to sleep early and wake up early. And he's awake super late in the night. I don't remember what time it was, but whatever it is, super, super, super late in the night. And, the neighbor comes in. They were all friends. I can't remember now what everybody's name was. But the neighbor guy comes in and he says, but I thought you were, going to start going to sleep early so that you weren't so tired in the morning. And he said, the problem is that night guy thinks that morning guy is a different person. He said, so I'm here as night guy, enjoying the night, watching a movie, talking to you, hanging out, having a great night. And morning guy is going to have to deal with the consequences, but morning guy is someone else. And this is what happens to us. We forget that we are also the morning one. And so we enjoy our nights like somebody else is going to have to deal with getting up in the morning. And this falls again back in that same category. It's ignorance of the mind. It's just the games of the mind. So allow yourself to keep remembering, I'm not only the night guy, but I'm the morning guy. They're both me. I am the one who has to get up. And have the same compassion for the morning you that you have for the night you who's enjoying, scrolling Instagram till 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever you're doing. But I don't mean good for you. Good for you. But I mean, you, the general you. What's the priority? And if your life is such that it's going to be a different time every day, okay. In India, there's a tradition, the sadhus, they move every day. They're meditating in a different place every day. No problem. Because they are within them. They're carrying them wherever they go. And so that selfness is following them. Now, in terms of what you should do, definitely meditation for sure. For me, the way that my sadhana goes, I begin with pranayama, then I go into japa, and then I go into meditation. And I do it in that way because I have found over the years that it's the most conducive way to quiet my mind for meditation. You could do it the other way. You could meditate first, and then you could do japa, and then you could do pranayama, of course. But what I have found is having an active mind. Pranayama quiets my mind. Japa brings my mind to a very beautiful single point. And it brings me straight into that presence of the divine. Because I'm loving the divine as I'm doing my japa. Right? If you look at the mantras that we say, basically all of the mantras essentially are, oh God, in this particular form with these particular characteristics, I bow to you. Right? Or, oh God, with these particular powers or this particular way, I surrender to you, or I love you, or I offer myself to you. That's what most of the mantras that we chant say. So as you're doing your japa, allow that love to start to flow. And then I notice I automatically, like I'm chanting my mantra. And all I have to do is just very gently put down my mala. And meditation is already happening. So I would recommend that you begin with a practice like that. You can do some light, yoga asanas if you want, before you sit, if you want. Some people do, they find that it gets the body flowing and kind of loosens up the legs to be able to sit. But at least the pranayama and the japa and the meditation for sure. But then when you stand up, carry the japa with you. Carry the meditation with you. It's not like, okay, boom, done. Shower's done, I'm dried, I'm over. No, it should stay with you. It's like getting out of the shower but not drying off. Staying wet. Carrying that with you all day. And then lastly, re-anchor yourself throughout the day. We forget. The other nature of the mind, we forget, we get distracted. It's okay. You're not bad. Happens to all of us. Anchor your remembrance in something that you're already doing. Every time you eat. Every time you drink something. Glass of water, cup of tea, whatever it is, eating an apple, eating a meal, sucking a cough drop, whatever it may be. Just before it goes in the mouth. A moment. Just a moment. Thank you. Yes. You come back.
And you were speaking about saying the mantra that connects with you. Obviously, I don't come from a Hindu background, but I have been very drawn towards it before. I don't know why. Is there a japa of just any manifestation?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have seen Puja Swamiji give Om Christ as a mantra to someone who's Christian. Absolutely. Absolutely. So whatever form of the divine you connect with, let the mantra be that. And it's not even that it necessarily has to be in Sanskrit, of course. These Sanskrit mantras have an additional power to them beyond just the meaning of, oh God, I bow to you, I love you, I surrender to you. There's actually a science around the sound of the Sanskrit mantras. But if that's not a manifestation of the divine that you connect with, then it's much more important to use a mantra that connects with that manifestation of the divine.
Is there a sort of Sanskrit mantra that's very universal rather than not specific manifestation?
The Gayatri mantra. Absolutely. It's to the supreme being, the supreme bestower of light, the bestower of wisdom. Yeah. Of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. Or even, I mean, just literally as I was sharing with you, Om Brahm, Om Brahm. Brahm is the supreme reality. Brahma. Every name, all names, no name, every form, no form, doesn't matter. It's that supreme reality. Unbroken, undivided existence. Divinity. Infinity. So you could also just use that. Yeah, of course. It's a very powerful mantra too. I'll come back to you. I just want to give, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Come. Yes, yes, yes. I meant what I said.
We can see water, but we can't see air. Does that mean fish can see air but not water?
So, as I told you earlier, I don't have the scientific knowledge to tell you exactly what fish see. But what I can tell you is what different insects see. As we were saying, I was telling you how if you look at a flower, for example, like you see that pink flower. Now we just look at it, we see a pink flower. But if you were a bee, what you would see on that flower are runways. Literally. They can see a spectrum of color far beyond what humans can see. And actually, the divine is so amazing that on flowers are in the color spectrum of a bee, literally runways showing the bee how to land right in the center of the flower where the nectar is. Mosquitoes see temperature. That's why when you're warm-blooded, like that's why they bite you instead of the metal pole. Whereas how would they know, right? But they know because they can see temperature. But the question is not so much what can fish see. The question is what can you see? So you can't see air. You can see water. That's good. But there's so much more to life than air and water. What else can you see?
People having fun,
Great. And
people learning,
what if you looked a little deeper? What else do you see?
me.
Yeah. Where? Where do you see you?
In the soul of my heart.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And what does you look like in the soul of your heart?
Kind, spiritual.
Now I'm going to give you a very advanced question because I think you can handle it. Can you see you in the soul of their hearts also? Yes. See, I knew you were up to my advanced question. So don't worry about seeing air. You can see what matters. Yes, other questions? Yes.
Hello, Sadhviji. Welcome back to London and bless us with your presence again. Can I call you my guru without being initiated or attending a ceremony? Because my Hindu friend was questioning me today whether I could call you my guru. I said, I'll ask her.
The Sanskrit word guru, it literally means the one who removes darkness and brings light. We live in the darkness of ignorance. As Hindus, we don't believe in original sin. We believe in original divinity. So we don't believe that the core of who you are is sinful or wrong. We believe that the core of who you are is divine and pure and perfect, but that we forget. The darkness is darkness of ignorance. The guru is the one who shows us the way through that ignorance so that we can see ourselves. The light that the guru shines is a light through which we can see ourselves. It's not about shining light on, themselves. It's about shining the light so that we can see ourselves in the light that the guru shines. And if you feel that there is something I am able to offer you that shines light of who you are in the otherwise dark moments of ignorance in your life, then that's truly God's grace, truly the grace of my guru, and a beautiful blessing.